straight from the realm of all things gaming. Everything Noob starts now.
And yet another installment of the Everything Noob podcast begins. I am Vortak, maker of YouTube videos and recently renewed World of Warcraft player. Joining me this evening, Mr. Dreadlow.
What's up?
I think I've renewed
Soon to be a World of Warcraft player.
And Miss Jemmy.
Not in denial of my crack addiction to MMOs.
Nice. So that is the topic for tonight. Every week we pick a theme. And the theme of this show, once again, is MMOs, which we did not that long ago, but this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about some of the ones we're currently playing because, as I recall, I wasn't really playing any MMOs when we were doing that. I don't think Dreadlow was either. I think Jemmy was the only one at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of hung out of that conversation too, sadly.
And this is cool now because we can start to put a little personal pizzazz to the show tonight with the MMO theme. So
yeah, exactly. So for me right now, I'm kind of playing World of Warcraft again, and it's because of that giant iron whatever patch that just came out. The Iron Tide. It basically did a whole bunch of stuff to the game that I probably don't understand, being someone who hasn't really played it all that much. But the one thing I did see is that it gave everyone all the expansion packs. And because I never played the game that much, I never invested in any of the expansions. So this was huge for me because now I have every expansion up to Mists of Pandaria. And so does everybody. So that's pretty cool.
That's going to be
level the playing field.
Are you going to play long enough to get to that content, though?
I hope so. I'm already seeing it. The undead area in the game, there's this one spot that they really modified a whole bunch of quests on. So you know how the game, a lot of MMOs, my big pet peeve about them is you start a quest, and they're like, kill 10 Bobs, and you kill 10 guys named Bob, and you come back and it's like, cool, did you get those necklaces they were wearing? No. Okay, go kill 20 more and bring me their necklaces. God damn it. Okay.
You haven't killed Henry yet, right? Oh,
he's next. So what I like about this is they changed.
Better get his dog Roofer too.
That's the boss fight.
Oh, yeah. the depressed dog that his master is gone.
Exactly.
It's like his mega AoE attack.
Just calls more depressed dogs over. What they did that was really cool is a lot of the quests are more interactive. Like I had this giant flying NPC guy following me around, and he picks me up, and it's like, kill 50 Murlocs. I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot. I was like, is he going to drop me in this field of Murlocs? And then I have this spell that I can just cast down upon them like raining bomb fire. And it was a really quick little quest, and it was cool. Like it was a different way to play the game. And there was another one where there's like these mounted turrets, and it's like, kill 50 of these dudes that they're going to storm the beach now. Kill them. Like, what? And you're shooting, guns at these hordes of mobs coming at you. They did a lot of cool stuff like that. And according to one of my friends, from levels 0 to 60, all those expansions have kind of like revamped the experience. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I know when you make a death knight, there is a quest where you have to kind of do that too. You get into this thing that's flying over, and you kill a bunch of the walking undead or whatever. So yeah, like you have to kill 100 of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like I guess there's a war going on between the undead and the war. I can't even think of it. See, I don't get into like the lore and the names of things. I'm a bad MMO player.
Oh my god, you are the person I always silently have a problem with. They're like, I'm just doing the missions, I don't care about the story.
Yeah, I used to read everything, and now because none of it made sense, I just push accept on everything. It's like, I have a quest for you, accept. I don't even read it. Yeah, and then I'll tell you this though, in that area I was just talking about.
You hurt.
That area I was just talking about, I started to understand the story even without reading anything, because it was clear that this one group of enemies everyone was fighting kept coming back, and they're at war. And the other cool thing is, you know how when you play World of Warcraft or a lot of MMOs, it's like, kill 10 of these guys, and they're just standing in the field, like waiting for you to fight them?
yeah, nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens. Then you fight them, and a couple come over and try to fight you. Well, in this area, there are NPCs fighting the other enemies you're supposed to be killing. So it looks like a battle going on around you, like in every direction, and you're just jumping in there and slaying them. And that was really cool. But yeah, like they're at war with each other, and even without reading the story, I can obviously tell that. There's even voiced over cutscenes now in the game.
You see,
yeah, this is stuff that World of Warcraft never had.
When I started playing, though, see now when you start playing, because I had came back to the game for a little bit a couple years ago, and I noticed that in the starting areas, you start out and all the mobs got yellow on their name, right? It's yellow.
Yeah.
Which means that they won't attack you until you attack them.
Yeah, they're passive.
It never used to be like that. I mean, when I first started playing in the starting area, they were red. I mean, I'd have to keep from getting them to attack me if I want to do it strategically or whatever. But they've really made it so easy for you to at least get to level 20, you know? And so basically when you walk into an area, you can walk through where the mobs are and they won't attack you until you attack them. I've noticed that with the game I'm playing right now, Lods Online. I'm still within the first 15 levels or whatever. And so everywhere I go, I mean, I finally got to a place where there were mobs that will attack me, you know, without me attacking them. So they start you out slow and easy so you don't get killed when you first start.
Yeah. That's cool. I noticed that too. Like there's a lot of mobs that just weren't interested in me, and usually I have to like keep my distance because I'm just trying to run back to the quest area. But yeah, there's another thing about it, and I forgot what it was now. Damn it. I hate that.
Oh.
Basically, though, I've been playing the game again, and it's been a lot of fun. My biggest problem with World of Warcraft is I've got a character in the 50s, but I've never taken him all the way to 60, and that's like that's where the original game stopped you at, level 60. And I decided I'm not going to buy an expansion until I get a character to level 60. And I never did that because all my friends kept going too far ahead of me, and I could not keep up with them. You know, I didn't have the time to play as much as they did. So I'd come online, they'd be 20 levels ahead of me, and I'm like, what the hell? Now I got a quest all by myself. And they're like, oh, sorry, maybe I'll come rush you. And they try to rush me, and that's no fun.
No, yeah, you take it through an instance, and you're like following along, collecting all the loot while they're doing all the killing, and
yeah, it was stupid. I felt like I was
boring,
wasting their time,
boring.
and it still takes a long time to level someone up like that.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like what 14 did with that. The main scenario or the main storyline is all solo. You can't really do it as a party, no matter what, because a lot of the big battles and stuff you have to do by yourself. You cannot be in a party; they're instanced. And then, but like you have multiple jobs that you can level while in the same tune, and so it rewards you to go back with your friends who may have started later or can't play as much as you, or you just have a reason because there's something you're doing that needs you to go back and redo the old content.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm working on a sword for my paladin, and I have to do these objective books essentially, which is a collection of do this, kill this, like run these dungeons or whatever. And so a lot of them are like, I don't get anything from it other than the completion point and maybe some like in-game currency that can only be used at an NPC.
Oh, that's weird. They separated the currency like that?
There is a couple of currencies. Like that currency is only obtainable at level 50.
Yeah.
So, and it's used to basically, instead of like the best gear really dropping from the regular dungeons, you can like purchase gear with it. Now there is still a high-end raid for the extreme raiders where that is where really the best gear is, but here's like mostly second best gear. Buy it. So like if you run it enough times, you will get a reward.
Okay. That's not a bad way of doing it. That's kind of cool. Here's how much of a noob I am with World of Warcraft or any MMO. What is the difference between doing a dungeon with your friends and going on a raid? I'm guessing it's just a lot more people. Is that the only difference? A raid?
The raid is more usually extreme content, harder content, meant for the more hardcore players, where a regular dungeon is typically more casual, and dungeons are more friendly to leveling up or just like regular content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the instances, like the normal level instances, I think you can have about 5 people in, and then when you get up to the raid level, you can get up 10, 15, 20, and then now they got
Yeah.
25 man raids.
You could even
So-
say it's based on the number of players allowed to enter.
Yeah.
It's a larger group.
I've seen them on Twitch and stuff, but I don't follow them too religiously. I've just seen people in World of Warcraft within a raid, and it's so zoomed out. They all seem to play really zoomed out. And
Because you have to watch the whole battlefield.
Yeah.
I never like that. It's because I like being right behind my character, right in the action. This is why I'm bad at these games, because I just can't seem to play it the right way. But I'm kind of going into it with like a fresh start, like a level head, because I've never been able to play an MMO like just to max level it. I know that's not even completion, but I'm calling it completion as in max level. I've never even done that. So I've decided to play it. I'm actually asking people who watch my YouTube videos, and I'm not even making videos on it, if they want to join me. And I gave them some info and how they can add me. So I'll probably leave that in the show notes of this podcast too, if anyone out there is interested. And Dreadlow, you said you'd probably be jumping in there too.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty big download, though.
Oh no, the crack addiction has started.
I think it's like 28 gigs.
He's going back, guys. We'll never see him again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless he makes
Hopefully-
videos on it.
Hopefully, it doesn't cap out my data on my internet.
That would suck.
Well, it's less gigabytes than Final Fantasy 13, which is like a 60 gigabyte download.
Holy crap! You'd
Because-
think they would-
That's a single player game, mind you. That's like a port from the consoles. And like we were looking at the size of it and was like, how big's the full installation of WoW? It's not even half that.
You see, I was going to say, like, for instance, you guys have heard of Second Life. I was involved in Second Life, and Second Life has a lot of 3D environment. It's huge. You go to different places on the map. It's to actually going to different hopping on different servers, but it's only a 20 megabyte download because basically your client is like a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, you're streaming it.
And the game is actually on their server.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering why MMOs can't do it that way. It's weird.
I mean, they can. RuneScape's done it that way forever.
Yeah.
I think now you can download their HTML client, and that does a little bit. That puts a little bit more on your PC
'Cause
than
it's like-
just being a browser-based kind of game.
I mean, every expansion that comes up, it's just more to download. I mean, you're going to end up with a 200 gigabyte freaking file to play a game, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. I usually go back to RuneScape. That's whenever I get my MMO itch. I'm like, I'm going back to RuneScape, but they've changed it so much, and now the community in that game is split right down the middle. There's people who are obsessed with the new one and people who are obsessed with old school, and I have characters on both, and neither of them are that appealing because my old school character, I had to start all over again. And my, character in the new game is pretty beefed up, but they've changed the new game so much it's not even familiar. And that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
I just want to play something familiar. I want to play something I can just jump into, start questing, and just go,
Would you say that because you've never finished WoW in the way of like at least the casual content, it's helping you feel familiar about it because you never felt like you knew it?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. That's probably what did it. Because a lot of people will give me crap for playing WoW. I've talked a lot of crap about WoW too, but I talk a lot of crap in general. But, it just comes down to all the new MMOs versus that game where I think World of Warcraft has set kind of the standard for a lot of what we see in MMOs today. Guild Wars 2 I was really impressed with when I first started. Like, you go into an area and the quests aren't really quests, they're just like areas you need to accomplish and complete. So you walk in and it's like, oh, the farm's being overrun, and you take care of it, and you're done. You don't really talk to anyone. And at first I thought, this is really cool. This is like a whole new way to do it. And then by my third or fourth area, I'm thinking, well, it's now starting to feel repetitive again. They can't seem to break out of that repetition. And I couldn't suggest a better way to do it. So, it is what it is. With MMOs, if you're going to do most of your leveling questing, you have to just deal with it. Best way to do it is find a party of people. But yeah, and if you played, did you guys see WildStar at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it a little bit. I don't know. I never really
I tried
wasn't
it.
attracted to it in any way.
I thought it was going to be really cool. Like, the animation was really good looking, and I tried it while it was in beta, but it just felt too much like a WoW clone, but without any polish whatsoever. And World of Warcraft has a lot of polish, especially in comparison to WildStar. So I didn't play that. Arcade I like. It's free, but I just can't get into it. It's not giving me that, excitement.
Yeah, it's. See, I've heard this from people that like a MMO Hut, and then there's a couple other MMO YouTube channels that specifically talk about MMOs, and they've talked about some of the Asian MMOs that have come out and have come to the U.S.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to get into there because in the Asian ones there's a lot of grind, and they like the grind for some reason. They just love the grind, and we don't like the grind. We want to be able to just go off and do quests and then obviously level and get to end game content so that we can do the end game content in the PvP. Whereas they're more of, they love the grind. So that's why when we start playing some of these Asian ones that have become Americanized, there's the grind still there. And so that's why it's hard. Like for me, I can't get into them. I can't. I don't like that grind.
Yeah.
So
it definitely starts to feel that way. I mean, it should be exciting that you're taking this character and it's born into this world with all this lore and imagination, and it should be exciting to want to do the quests. And like we were just talking about a bit ago, I don't read any of the quests because I just don't care. There's too many sub stories going on and for me to keep track anyway. Every new person you talk to is like, oh, well, I have this going on, and then you do their quest line, and by that time you've forgotten what else you were doing beforehand.
I just didn't like how Arcade, when you went to do you accepted a quest from an NPC, the whole screen would just change on you, and then you'd have on up here it would tell you the basics of the quest, and then down below you would have to read to figure out what you got to do for the quest. And it's like my eyes are like going like this, and I just want to open up a small window, read the quest, and accept it. I don't need all this visual. That's what I didn't like about Arcade. It was very hard for me to get into.
Guild Wars had a similar way of doing their cutscenes. Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
If I say Guild Wars,
well,
I mean Guild Wars 2.
Cutscenes are cool. I like cutscenes, but I mean, as far as going to every single NPC and having my whole screen change, where I'm like out of the game, and they kind of like made it like a Final Fantasy, like a Final Fantasy thing where you've got an anime, a cartoon on the side of the character talking to you. Kind of like, and then they have what she's saying or he's saying on the bottom, and then up above is where you accept the quest. It was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah, this anime art style themed games.
Now, LODs Online, which is something I've been playing, and I've gotten some YouTube videos up of it. Is very WoW-ish, very WoW-like, and it's in almost every way. I mean, they've got those interactive quests where like I said, like you said, where you can fly over things and kill a bunch of things, or you can stand there and activate cannons so that the cannons are shooting, and different things you can activate to make certain things work. That's what I really loved about WoW, was because the quests were not redundant. It wasn't something like where you had to kill 20 Bobs and then then you go kill 20 Henrys. There was a mixture. And that's what I like about LODs Online. It's very similar to WoW, and so that's why I was getting into that, and I'll still play that, because it's a fun game. I mean, it's got a nice storyline. It's taking you through a complete story, and then it's got all the side quests, and you can tell what the main story quests and the side quests are because there is usually a different symbol by it. So it's pretty cool, but yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me to look at any other MMO right now, especially because I started playing WoW. But in general, I was trying to think, what game do I want to play? Where do I want to spend my time playing? Because I'm only going to be interested for probably a few months. There's other games coming out too very soon that I'm excited about, and I'm not going to have time to play World of Warcraft. But I just want to have fun for a little bit, play a game that maybe I'll be able to finally get to the end game content. Now, if you get that 90. Or I'm sorry, you can pre-order the new expansion, Warlords of Draenor, I think that's what's called.
Yeah.
You can pre-order this expansion, you get a level 90 boost. And then you can use that on any one of your characters, and then that puts you right, into the endgame content up until the new expansion comes out. And so a whole bunch of people I know are doing that.
I've experienced things like this where they had the resurrection scroll or some other thing where you can get somebody else in the game, and I got into the game and I was able to give somebody, like every time I leveled, I was able to give them a level. So I was or they would get 2 levels. I'm not sure, but I was at points where I could give people levels. So this one guy, he'd come on, right? And he's supposed to be helping me because he's a higher level character. So he's supposed to take me. That's the whole point of, I think it was a refer a friend or something. That's how I basically got into WoW, I think, was for refer a friend. And he was gaining levels from me leveling. So he would take off and go off and do his thing, and then he would contact me, through Skype and say, "Hey, you ready to give me levels now?" And I'm going, "You're supposed to be helping me. I mean, come on, what the hell?"
He's not
I'm
following
here
the
by
rules.
myself, and he's not even following the rules.
You're not being a friend.
But it was hilarious because
Refer a dick.
it was so
Pretty much.
it was so hilarious because he wasn't doing much with his character. So all he was doing was waiting for me to be able to give him levels. Once I was able to give him levels, he just asked for the levels. So he leveled himself up to, 50, whatever. But his gear was like level 10, so he never got the gear. So if they did something like that, if they're doing something like that where they boost you to 90, I'm hoping that they give you gear with that. Because that's the thing. I mean, he was dying left and right because he just couldn't. He was level 50, but he was in like a level 30 area, and he was just dying. And it's because his gear was crap. Because he didn't do any quests, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, he just waited for me to give him levels. It was weird. I think he was popping on the character. Was what he was doing. He was popping off the character, going on a different one that he is a legitimate character for him, and then he would pop on his other character and ask if I can give him levels yet. And so he just leveled this thing all the way up until it was almost max level, and then he just was dying. Just couldn't do it.
I would think that would work for somebody who was very knowledgeable about the game, and then they had another character that had a lot of money that they could kind of front gear for the other character that they're now trying to boost with levels. Like, so if you wanted another character for PvP or something, that would be a valid strategy. But at the same time, boosting levels is kind of awful because I've noticed like a lot of the worst players come from that because they didn't take the time to learn the abilities as they got them.
Yeah.
And they didn't learn the mechanics of the game for your job. So they don't know how to play their stuff.
They're missing a lot of content. Things that or items that they could get, just from leveling up. And, there's a lot of stuff that I've gotten that's, that I still have, and some rare items and things like that I just keep. I've got in my bank, I got a little spot where I keep all the stuff that I'm hoarding. I'm a hoarder of junk in World of Warcraft. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and, it's free to play is fun. The games that I've played that are free to play are fun, but, there's things that I can't do. I can't reach certain heights that I can in World of Warcraft because World of Warcraft is completely equal level. Nobody's buying something to gain an extra boost in something to be able to, get things.
It's not pay to win.
Yeah, and well, even just not pay to win, but like even something as simple as like stuff that you wear and garments and things like that you can buy from the store. That to me, I'm a hoarder, so I'm going to see something. I'm going to go, I want it, Oh, I want that mount because I can't get it any other way unless I buy it, Whereas in World of Warcraft, you're getting, everybody's able to get the same thing you got, except for like for instance, if you, like I got the double-headed pug guy, the pug dog. And I got that because I came back to the game during an expansion, I guess, and it was a reward that I got. So that was the only difference. Was I got certain things for doing certain things, but other than that, everything is pretty much earned in the game.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Jimmy?
Oh, well, him talking about buying mounts and stuff. 14, they just had their American Fan Fest, and the next weekend is the European one, and later on is going to be the Japanese one. And so they announced they're going to have a cash shop, but it's all glamour items like mounts and minions and past seasonal event items. So if you missed the event and you didn't get the costumes or whatever it is, or the gear, now, if you're familiar with chocobos, in this game, you have a particular chocobo that's bound to you, and you can get gear that you equip to it. Now, it's all cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. But they're offering a lot of that now, and this year's was spooky barding for your chocobo. But so I was like, look, for the past events that I've played where I did not have an active account, they allowed you to buy the year before the in-game currency, the past event items, if it wasn't a part of the active quest. Now it's like gone. You can't do that. So it's only going to be offered in the cash shop, which made me really sad.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, every seasonal event now will be new and different.
That's good. You
Yeah.
know, I'm glad you brought that up, because coming back to WoW, I think the last time I stopped playing was around this time of year, Halloween, and I come back into WoW, and it's like nothing has changed, because I still hear the Headless Horseman riding around and screaming reciting the same exact poetic bullshit that he was saying before, and it's the same event. They didn't change it at all, and I'm thinking this was years ago that this event was going on. They must have been. Has this been the only Halloween event they've ever done? Like, that sucks. And everyone gets the items where you can turn other players into stuff, and you can, trick or treat, and you end up in a costume that you have no control over. And yeah, okay, it was a fun event for the time, but I mean, you guys just did this huge update, and you're trying to get more subscribers again. Why not, have a team of people refresh those events a little bit, make them a little more fun? I mean, RuneScape strives to make a new holiday event every single year, despite the fact that they've lost tons of, they're a huge player base. They've lost a good portion of it, and they're still doing it. They're still going strong with their content. They're like still plugging along. Come on, World of Warcraft. I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I notice all the MMOs have their little festivals and stuff that they have for certain holidays and things. And that's what makes it interesting and fun is, what are they going to do this year, And if it's the same thing, it's like, oh, okay, here we go through this again. Bunch of people running around with pumpkin heads again. It's like, I mean, it's only so much you can do, but I don't know. I guess, I don't know. They don't have that creative, they're busy making expansions. They don't want to deal with holidays,
Yeah, the content they're producing is great, but yeah. I was a little bit.
Yeah, they need to do something else, but
I love the events. I live for them. Like, I see an announcement that a seasonal event's coming up, and I just, squee with glee. I've been known to hurt people's eardrums.
Now, I told you guys
one of my favorites.
I told you about Dragon's Prophet, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
basically, it's where you can get dragons and things like that. And it was a lot of fun in the beginning, and it just, because it was an Asian, it comes from the Asian background, it had that grind to it. The only thing that was so exciting about it was the fact that I can have 10, 15 dragons to myself, Of course, you have to buy more slots to hold more dragons, but you still were able to have all these different kinds of dragons. Well, see, World of Warcraft had that all along. I mean, they had the flying mounts, and you were able to have your own flying mount, and you had several. You can have as many as you want, really, different kinds of mounts. Yeah, a ghost motorcycle too. I mean, they just have all these different mounts. So, I thought Dragon's Prophet was going to be a thing, but
no,
they just had that grind. It's just grind.
Another thing that added to WoW. I don't know if you know about this one. There's pet battles.
Yeah,
just
I knew
like
about
Pokemon
that.
battles.
Oh, no way.
Exactly like Pokemon battles.
Oh, that's new.
So, yeah, there's tons of pets now, and you can walk up to any other pet in the game, and you can battle other players. And there's like a whole system for it to where you can even level up your main character just with pet battles. It's not very efficient, but you can do it.
Isn't there degrees of stats based on the rarity of the pet? So you'd have to farm a better version of it if you wanted to have a better version of
If you wanted
the
to be
stats.
the very best, like
Yeah.
no one ever was.
Yeah. The goal is to
maybe.
catch them all.
I wonder if my old pets that I have, right?
Yeah.
That, especially some of the special edition pets that I got from like joining, like those certain things that I did. I wonder if they will be able to battle now.
I don't know. I actually got. I checked my mailbox with my new character, and I got like a penguin, Mr. Chili, I think his name was. And I've had this penguin like a long time ago with a different character on a different server, different, same account.
Right, and because every time you make a character, you get a new penguin.
Yeah, I haven't
This
tried
is one of those.
battling with him yet, but maybe that. It just seems it's kind of a new thing. I would hope that your old pets can join in the new system.
Yeah, that would be cool,
I
man.
assume they could, but they probably may have a random number generator system assigned to them for their stats
Yeah.
allotment, whereas farming whatever the best color is drop in WoW would allow you a little more control.
I had tons of pets at one time, like cages full of I don't know why. I just like, instead of like changing my outfits every day in real life, my pet would change. My camera went away.
Yep.
It's just gone. Oh well. So, anyway, we've been having a lot of tech difficulties. We're actually doing the podcast not live because the internet's been kind of glitching out on my end, and I usually host the live call. And what that did is that screwed up your guys' screens. That was fun. But anyway.
Yeah, and I'm having some internet issues too, so I don't know what's going on.
I'll silently work on that. But anyhow, it screwed up my train of thought. That's what it did.
I wish they would add the Pokemon battles to 14 they have minion pets, so
Yeah.
I wish they'd add it for that, because as they're purely vanity items, you can't even have them out everywhere and stuff like that, and it's kind of frustrating for somebody who loves to collect them that I can't really do anything with them, and most of the times I can't even have it out.
Really?
That would kind of make sense in that game because of the fact that it's kind of the same genre kind of,
They won't do it, though. I'm sure they'll, pull some crap and say, sorry, server limitations, we can't do it. And I'm like, really? But WoW is doing it? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Your theories, please explain them to me.
It seems really intensive too. They added a lot of stuff for these pet battles, so I don't know. I'm excited about them. I think that's kind of cool. I remember there's a lot of games I played where like there were little mobs. I'm like, oh, that would make a cool little Pokemon. And now WoW is just like, here you go. Everything's a Pokemon now.
They still have all the skill trees and all that stuff?
No, they've changed everything about the skill trees, which confused me. Yeah, I think for a lot of veteran players, they're not happy about that. But
Well, yeah, they have to learn it all again, just with the
it's
newbies.
simple. It's really simple. It's kind of like it follows the way Diablo 3 did it a little bit.
So are they mad because they dumbed it down?
It's at least one person I've talked to, and he's been on the show, Dark Newt.
Yeah.
He said he was really bummed out about World of Warcraft because they've made it too simple. He feels.
Yeah, there's less customization now. Now there's going to be too many characters that are the same.
Well,
You know what I mean?
My other friend Valzer, he was explaining a lot of this to me, and he said that it's actually a good thing, and he went on to defend it and stuff like that. I don't know. I never really liked skill trees in any game because they confuse me. They hurt my small brain, and I'd rather just,
Now, I don't know too much about the skill trees in WoW, but if you don't balance them, you end up with a lot of people who are just the exact same anyways. The skill tree, a lot of times in games, gives the illusion of customizability, but a lot of times, no, you're not. You're not gonna use half of the skills. You would never even dream of a situation where you could need it. So you're gonna go down a specific tree, and then you're gonna look at fine-tuning that build later on, like what's optimal.
Yeah, see,
So why not just dumb it down? Because why, get people ridiculed? Because it's like, why would you do that in the first place? That's silly.
well, see, the thing is, look, you got your skill tree, and people were copying other people's skill trees. As a matter of
Exactly.
fact, people would actually have on their website their skill tree.
Yeah.
Because they were very, but you had to have the right gear, you had to have all the right components to work with that skill tree, and if you don't have it,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
they'll list the gear that you need too, and it's like this is best in slot. This is what you need to be gearing towards. And
yeah,
if you can't get these pieces, you need to build these stats this way,
yeah, and
and then earn that gear with that
that's when
gear.
it becomes complicating.
Yeah.
The one thing he said was that he said basically what you guys just said, but he also said that the nice thing about these skill trees being gone is that they're going to be they're basically allowing people like myself to get into the game more.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that you don't have to sit there and overthink things.
Yeah.
You know, I hated going into a dungeon or something using the group finder or friend finder or group finder or whatever they call that thing. And then you go into the group and then they say, "Oh, well, you know, your defense is too high. You're gonna pull aggro, you know, and everything's gonna attack you instead of the tank." And then it just got complicated for me because then I had to try and adjust my gear so that I could actually go into some of these groups. You know, it got to a point where people were actually not letting certain people in the groups because of their gear's not right or whatever. And I think this makes it a lot more simpler because now, I mean, how are you going to, you know, everybody's, you know, there's only so far you can go or, you know, whatever. And so I don't know. We'll see. I'll see what happens when I get on. I want to check it out and see what's changed.
Yeah, it's definitely different. You can now pick, like, for a mage, for example, arcane, frost, or fire, and that's what you do. You just pick one of those, and then that's when, as you level up, those are the spells it just gives you automatically. You don't need to level up a skill tree to unlock a certain spell. Like, it's just going to give it to you once you reach a certain level, and that's that. And then at level 15, you unlock like another thing that gives you passive abilities. And then at level 30, you unlock another row of those, and you get to pick one from each row until you're max level. So it's like 15, 30, and I think maybe 50 something. I don't know. I didn't, you know.
See, that's what a Lods Online does, but it still has a skill tree, but the skill tree is very small, and it's got a fork, so you can go down this way on the skill tree, this way on the skill tree, depending on how you want to do it, and then you can even combine those three. But there's only it's just one track, you know. It's not like where it was before, where I had all these different kind of tentacles going out, and you had to choose. Then you had 3 different, you know, types of that character with different. It was just wow. It was a lot. It was a wow. It was a wow moment when you looked at your skill tree and wow, it was just crazy. And so what I did is I just copied. You know, I watched videos of people that were successful with their skill tree, and I just kind of copied theirs. Plus, there was a guy on there, a friend of mine from when I was going to college, and he helped me fix my skill tree. And so he kind of helped me along. But see, if you don't have anybody like that, you know, to help you, you're kind of stuck. So maybe it's better they did it this way.
Yeah, I don't have anyone like that. I used to, but now it's a pain. I don't like asking people to help me fix my skill tree. If I'm going to play this game, I should know how to play the game.
Yeah, because before, if you had one skill and then you got this other skill, it counter, you know, it messed up that skill. So then you had to know that, though. How are you supposed to know that unless you,
It didn't have it in like the skill description box.
Well, yeah, it showed you the description of the skill and what it does and all that stuff. But in game, see, they had it down to a science where they knew the percentage or the crit rate or whatever. And if you had this skill and this skill together, it counteracted each other mathematically. So then what would happen is you would end up with less crit or whatever. And so then you're like, oh, how was I supposed to know that? You know, okay, I'll reset my skills. You know, and so you're constantly resetting skills because you didn't know what you're doing, and it's just you spend more time doing that than actually playing the game. Yeah. So I guess they simplified it.
That was a big problem I had, though, with people who did like level boosting and stuff and just like rushed to the end content. And like when World of Warcraft gives you the option of making, say, a Death Knight where you can start at level 55, I'm thinking, wouldn't you want to take that character on that journey and like build him the way you want just for fun? You know, I know you can like respec him later, but just for fun, wouldn't you want to do that? And now it doesn't matter. Now there's no skill tree, so who cares? Start at the level 90 and quickly buy the things you want to get, and you're done. It's, I don't know. I like it simply because it's my small brain.
I had enough of a confusing time trying to figure out what attack to do first and then what to do next to, get the most out of your attack, because you know, like in Alad's Online, I would attack with say a poison arrow, and then once I attack with a poison arrow, I'd do a double arrow, and then from there, because it's on cooldown, I would do something else, and I would just have this momentum going where I would just do the same thing over and over again, each thing I come across, and it would always be perfect. It would work out just right, and there's like little patterns that you can come up with. I had a hard enough time with that. I didn't need to, deal with 50 billion different skills and what worked with what.
Games like that should be more accessible. However, for people who got into it and finally did take the time to learn it, I kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah, they dumped a lot of hours on that, and then the people who especially went one step further and they downloaded the parsers and they did hours and hours and hours of testing with different gear and different abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They did the research that all of this was based on.
Yeah,
and then Blizzard came by and just was like, you know what, it's gone, bye, and they just started, and so it's like essentially killing someone's kid. You've lost something that you held dear and treasured, and now it's gone, and you'll never get it back.
Yeah.
And there's all that time wasted, essentially. Or that's what a lot of people like to feel like. It was wasted. I'm like, no. A lot of people got use out of it at the time, but now that is no longer relevant to the current iteration of the game. So
you could say that about
you need to research another way.
Yeah, you could say that about picking up another game entirely, and not playing World of Warcraft anymore. That all your hours you played World of Warcraft are now wasted because you played this game instead.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of I don't feel too bad for him with that logic.
Having fun is never time wasted.
Yeah, exactly. So, since we're getting way after the halfway point in the show, there's another little news story. If you guys felt like jumping on, are we good on the MMO topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to talk about this because it's a story that just came out. It's short, sweet, but someone learned a valuable lesson. This guy decided to threaten the life of the person who runs Steam, basically the CEO.
Yeah. I think
Gabe Newell.
Yes. he got his game on Steam, and Steam put it up as early access, but it's not. It just got completed. And the developer was pissed because he had to hassle with them before because he wasn't what was it, something about weekends?
He wanted to release the game on the weekend. Steam has a no weekend release policy. So then he had to wait till the weekday, and a glitch in the system fucked up that labeled it as early access when it's not. And instead of doing the responsible adult thing and contacting customer support for developers, which probably would have fixed it within 24 hours to 48 hours of sales, and they probably would have been like, hey guys, that game wasn't early access, we're sorry. He just decided to go to Twitter and rage like a 12-year-old.
Oh my gosh. I love reading these tweets.
I mean, and then his defenders are like, oh, well, you should know it's an empty thread. This is a bit extreme from Steam. And I'm like, how is it extreme? You can't shout fire in a crowded room. You can't call it a bomb threat. Yeah.
In an airport.
Yeah. I'm reading these tweets. The first one, he puts a screenshot of it, and he's like, are you effing kidding me, Steam? We just released out of early access, and this is our front page banner. All caps. And he's just raging on Twitter. Effing Steam is just effing taking money out of my pocket, misinforming people that my game is in effing early access.
So instead of going on a massive campaign while trying to work with Steam to fix this, guys, please spread the word. My game isn't early access. This is a glitch in the Steam matrix.
Yeah, and it could have been. Well, let's see.
When massive PR from this.
When was this tweet put out? Was it yesterday or something?
Positive. Remind you.
Day before
today,
yesterday.
This morning.
Yeah.
Well, this morning, I mean, it's the beginning of the week. It was over the weekend. You know, I mean, they're probably on it. They got so much to do. They'll probably take it out of that early access state.
Oh, it's out of
You know.
early access.
Well, it's out
It's
completely now.
They pulled it because
But I
he
mean-
threatened his life.
Yeah, I
and
know. It's
now
like,
he's
come
a
on.
doomsayer, like, oh, well, I can't be in the Steam Marketplace, so I guess I'll never make it.
Yeah,
See,
like Minecraft.
No, Minecraft can't make it, so they're just going to have to make a Steam edition. Because
Yeah.
that's how they're going to make their monies.
Yeah.
The Microsoft theory of gaining their money back confirmed.
That's how they're going to
Steam
do it.
edition.
They'll
We
throw it on
figured
Steam.
Microsoft was like, we're going to make our money back and double that because you idiots didn't even put this on Steam. Do you even Steam?
I know, right? That's their grand
That's what-
plan.
Oh my god, so ridiculous. I I just love how he's like sitting there saying, I'm never going to make games. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done making video games. It sucked while it lasted.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
good. I don't want to support someone like that anyway.
I know.
I'm glad this person did that because now we see their true colors before we waste our money on his game.
I really wish No News Story had covered this, so like he would really go down in oblivion.
That's true.
Because now people know about his game, so there is definitely going to be a handful of people who at least go and look at it and like, please do not. Okay, have a heavy hand when deciding to buy that game. Remember, you are paying him money to continue to act like a whiny brat.
Yeah. I may need to... I'll link the story on the show notes, and you can check out his Twitter. It says he does Let's Plays on his Twitter account, so...
Yeah, I went to
Oh,
one
no.
of his
Yeah,
YouTube.
I might have to get the popcorn out and watch that train wreck. Because I imagine if he's like that verbose on Twitter, like his Let's Plays are probably gold mine.
He seems to be pretty known. There's a few people who are well known on my Twitter feed that are following him, so...
Yeah, no, he has a large Twitter following and everything, so it's not like he's unknown, which is probably why he did get a little bit of news coverage. But at the same time, poo-poo. Now he's going to get more attention for being a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, any publicity is good publicity. That's what kind of sucks. But I don't want to support someone like that, you know. You can have all the Twitter followers you want, but that's still not going to sell your game if you look bad and they don't want to support you.
Exactly.
Right.
But I just thought that was kind of just a funny story. I love seeing people throw hissy fits and then get what's coming to them.
I love the personal meltdown on any like social media. It's like, oh my god, please let me get a snack and a soda.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, the guy,
Fresh this.
I just get to quietly watch and judge you.
like the guy who made Fez.
I just enjoy it.
The guy who
Remember the
made
game?
Fez got way too much attention, and what
Yeah.
sucked is that I was actually going to buy Fez because it looks like an awesome game,
It does.
and
It
I
looks
can't
like-
do it. I cannot support someone like that. I refuse. I just kind of moved on. I'm like, there's plenty of games.
Yeah.
I won't miss it after a while.
Exactly. Now I don't even remember how it played. I just remember liking it when I saw it.
Yeah.
So, this is the thing. Like, indie games have kind of captivated me for a while, which is why I haven't gone back to playing any MMOs, because there's a lot of awesome indie games out there. But every once in a while, one of these little guys pops up.
Well, that's the problem with anybody can be a developer now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a problem? I mean,
Well,
It's
I mean,
saturated.
it's not a problem so much as like it's harder. It's easier to get in the market, so it's easier for terribly attitude people to get represented in the market. Whereas before, the only way to get in the market was to get with a company, which means they have a PR agent. And so one person's bad attitude never really kind of leaked out into the market
it never surfaces.
and never represented the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like just saturation, I feel. And I feel like he's wrong about Steam. His game's not on Steam, so therefore he won't make any money. I've seen, there's actually a blog, I should try to find it again. It was from a while ago. There was an indie developer who went on this tangent about how, as an indie developer, he truly believes that his customers are worth nothing to him. And he explained it by saying, you're worth nothing because you expect me to sell these games that would otherwise be worth $20-something for $5, thanks Steam, and then you want tech support. So by the time I have my team answering your tech questions and stuff, the amount of man hours I've spent like after selling you this game have been lost. And like he just put it in like that sense, like in terms of, obviously he said it a lot better, but just in terms of like how much money and time he spends even after selling his game for a measly, he sold his games for like $1 a piece, I think. And he feels like he could make more off of his games, but he can't because no one's going to buy them because everyone expects games to be really cheap thanks to things like Steam, you know.
Everybody expected indie games to be cheap before Steam started carrying their banner, because how else do you attract people to play games they've never heard of, maybe don't have as great graphics, or maybe the writing's a little rough or whatever, maybe they don't have money to hire voice actors, so it's not as polished as it could be. How else do you attract them? Oh, we lower the price to what the market will bear for these games. It's not Steam's fault. It's the fact that there is nothing that the indie developers are doing to push the price to go up.
No, that's well said. I agree.
And if he's complaining about customer support, that is just industry standard no matter where you go. One of the most expensive things for any business is customer support or tech support.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of cutbacks when it comes to customer support. You just get nothing but like scripts now because that's the cheapest way to do it. And it still costs them tons of money.
Yeah, because there's a few things like that popped into my mind, especially with customer support. I'm thinking, why not just make your game easier to understand so you don't have to give people that support? But he wasn't even talking about the game. He was talking about people emailing him, begging him for help because the game wouldn't load on their PC. And it always had something to do with their PC. Like it was their problem. It wasn't his problem to deal with. So he's fixing not only his game for them, but Windows, you know?
What I don't understand is why he didn't, if his game was large enough to garner that amount of attention, why not put a place on your website to kind of post if you're having problems, here's what to do before contacting me. Or here's a forum where you guys can crowdsource tech support between each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to find it again because maybe he had that stuff. Who knows? It was when I read it, I thought, this is an interesting way of looking at it. And being as bold as saying, customers are worthless. That it's a
That's
crazy.
awful.
He said it and even said like, I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that, but here's what I think. And he made some very valid points. But by the end of it, I felt kind of weird. I was just kind of like, well, you don't need to give them tech support. You don't have to share your email address. You can sell your game, and if people have problems, to put up a forum and let people talk about their problems amongst themselves.
If your game is worth it, people will pay $60 for it.
Yeah.
Just put it up at the price that it's worth.
Well, I mean, the most recent example I can think of that is Life is Feudal. Right now in early access for like $40. And
which is going to become an MMO.
Yeah. And it's just it was just kind of sticker shock, and after playing it, definitely worth the money. I mean, they're doing a great job. It holds up for sure, but a lot of people, in fact, everyone I've talked to, the first thing they ask is like, is it worth my $40? And I always have to tell them, like we were talking about last week with Weem on the podcast, here's what the game is like. You decide if it's worth your $40. I don't want to tell you that because that's a lot of money to spend on an early access game. But personally, I'm enjoying it. And it's sticker shock though, because that's what I'm used to seeing on Steam is low prices. That's what I'm used to.
For me, it's sticker shock because of early access. If it was a final product that was $40, I would assume there's a reason it's $40. And the developer decided that's what the market will bear for that game. And but because it's early access, it's not a finished game. There's no guarantee that they will finish that game. It's kind of like, whoa, I don't know if I want to drop $40 on something that may never even come around to fruition. And not to mention, the $40, as far as I can tell from my research on Life is Feudal, at least, only goes to the small personal server stuff. You will not get access
Yeah.
to the MMO version of the game.
That's how I'm seeing it too. It's you're getting
And
life is
that
Peter
kind of
your
bothered
own.
me.
Yeah.
I was like, do I not just, like, I don't want to have to pay for the game again if I want to play on a big server.
Yeah. People can make bigger servers, which is cool, but if you want to play on the MMO servers, you got to buy the game again. Now the $40 helps with them developing so they can grow faster.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I should get a little perk when it comes to the larger version of the game, because that's what your ultimate goal was to create. And what the personal version is basically beginner island. So that'll be where everybody starts anyways on the big MMO version, and then you pay to get out of that area, which is going to be like reset every day or every week or something like that.
Yeah.
So you just win the game and then move out of there.
I like the Minecraft model of doing it. They started the game out at what, $5, and then they just creeped up the price from there as they developed it. Once they felt the game was worth more, they charged more.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to everyone else. Now, but that is a very slow way of gaining income. These guys are getting $40 a pop every time someone buys their game, so it's speeding up development. And I just worry that they're going to lower the price afterwards and kind of slap the face of the people who paid $40, which arguably isn't a slap in the face because all games eventually seem to lower in price.
Yeah.
But we're talking like
eventually,
a pretty quick drop in price once they've released the game, which could be months from now. Who knows? That's a pretty fast, price drop.
Well, it's an MMO though, and like price drops tend to go really fast, especially if you don't have the playership behind it.
Yeah.
So, because their real money comes from subscription fees and microtransactions if they have those and anything like that. So it's like, well, what do we do to attract people to come play it or at least try it out? Well, we lower the barrier of entry.
Yeah.
We make the fence a little lower to jump.
Games just move fast in general now. What am I talking about? Things move so damn fast these days. There's way too many games now. So yeah, price, especially with games that add expansions. Yeah, you're right. The price drops frequently. So I don't know. We'll see. I do wish them luck because it is a really awesome project. I hope the $40 is something they can get people to spend more because I feel like they'd be selling a lot more copies if it was even $10 cheaper.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably going to come in time. They'll lower the,
Well, maybe like when they unroll more features and stuff like that you can play in the game a little more polished, like people will be like less sticker shocked about the price of $40. They'll be more like, this is totally worth it, and they are actually going to finish. Because it gets to a certain point where you can tell they're going to finish the game. It may not be what you wanted, but at least it'll be a finished product.
Stonehearth is probably the most disappointing for me right now because I actually kickstarted that one. They're doing stuff with it, but the updates I'm getting from the Kickstarter are so few and far between, and I'm so worried they're not going to finish. It's going to be another Cube World, like we were all sitting here so excited to play Cube World, and then they just, they haven't done anything with it. And yeah, I feel that same way with Stonehearth. The last time I played, and I think they've had an update since, but the last time I played, one update ago, I couldn't save my game and then load it again. Like my game would just get corrupt instantly after I hit save and quit. And I have to start over again.
Wow.
So I tried to do like a little YouTube series on it, and I couldn't do it. And there was enough content there to do a fun little YouTube series, but I couldn't get a save file. And that's like a very crucial bug that I feel like should have been addressed immediately. Even if you're in beta, like I can't properly test your game if I can't play through all the content. And I can't play through all the content because I got other stuff to do, so I need to save and quit. But unfortunately, we are out of time here. But yeah, MMOs.
It's time to save and quit.
It's time to save and quit. MMOs, if you want to play World of Warcraft, be sure to check out the show notes and all the server information that we'll be playing on, I guess, Dreadlow and I. Maybe we'll convince Jemmy, but I doubt it.
If I get it downloaded, it might take 10 days.
I already have my MMO. You can come join me on 14 on Cactar server, and we'll run it up.
Awesome. All right, we'll add both of those things in the show notes as well as other stories and things we talked about. As usual, be sure to check out everythingnoob.com. All right, everyone, thank you for checking out the podcast. We will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Everything Noob podcast. Hit up everythingnoob.com for our show notes, blogs, YouTube and Twitch channels, previous episodes, and even a t-shirt store. Please game responsibly, and we'll see you next week.
I cut the cams when that happens.